we are going into another application of PCR, that is PCR with relation to DNA fingerprinting. By using polymerase chain reaction, we exactly know we can selectively amplify a chosen gene, and after knowing the sort of chosen genes from the from the DNA, we can again exactly do the sort of a DNA profiling. We can do the DNA profiling. DNA profiling is otherwise termed as DNA fingerprinting. The advantage of this is it is an automated technique. It is a fully automated technique. There is amplification of the DNA. More so, there is selectivity. We can choose the sort of a gene which has to be amplified. Later on, we can also separate the gene or the DNA of interest. We can detect it, we can know what it is made up of, and we can also practice allele matching. That is, after detecting your gene of interest, we can exactly know it matches which DNA profile of the host. Thereby, it is primarily, you understand, if you take the PCR and DNA fingerprinting, it is a technique which is hands-free. It's a hand-free technique. It's an automated technique. It's a automated technique. We need to only swab in. We swab in the sample, which is a very, very small sample. We need just put the sort of a DOP, and we can get the sort of a profile out. So, a hands-free swab in profile out technique is by means of the use of the PCR. Here, what are the other advantages in the context of DNA and fingerprinting? We primarily understand all these are important in terms of medicine. In addition to this, we can identify the victims of 9/11 terrorists. We can identify the victims. So, it is useful in identification of victims in the case of natural calamities. Like a disaster, like an earthquake, like in case you want to trace terrorists, etc. It's also important for developing a criminal database. A criminal database. So, you can do a sort of a criminal justice database. That is, you can exactly know who is the real victim, who is accused as a false victim, what has happened to the sort of a person who has been affected by this, and what are this from the DNA profiling can give you a sort of a very good judgment even in terms of parentage. Who is the true father, mother or the child is termed as parentage. So, it solves several parental disputes. A very important point again is here nowadays PCR and DNA fingerprinting is used even in immigration test. Like when people move out from one country to the other country, depending upon their nativity, we belong to different sort of races, and we belong to different geographical areas. So, once we are from different geographical locations, immigration tests will clearly indicate whether what is your native and what is your DNA profile, either from your saliva or from your sort of a blood or from any of the sort of swab which they take from your sort of a cheek. So, this was primarily about PCR and DNA fingerprinting.